Hello and welcome to the 43rd episode of Out of State DMing podcast. I'm your host, lluksblackheart, and my current favorite co host, Boykin.
Oh, what's up?
Join us as we continue our conversation on magic. Today we're going to be starting on wizards and how their magical stuff works, such as how they prepare their spells and some of the stuff they have to do before we move on to several of the other different types of casters. Because, like we discussed in previous episodes, there's not just, hey, look, here's a bunch of this weird stuff you have to know about magic, but, well, here's weird stuff with each of these specific type of magic users, because not all magic users are created equally, uh, and how some of their stuff work isn't 100% the same. Like, for instance, starting here in the preparing wizard spells. Before setting out on your adventure with your companions, you have to pour over your spell book and prepare X amount of spells. By prepare X amount of spells is if you have the ability to prep two first level spells and three zero level spells, you have to pick what two first level spells you're gonna be doing, because those are the two spells you get for the day. And it's the same with the three zero level spells. Once you pick them, you have to wait until literally the next day to prepare them. And that's one of the reasons why so many people hate wizards. Because you not only have it not only has to be in your spell book, not someone else's, yours. You're kind of stuck with whatever you prepare. Now Bacon hasn't had to deal with this because he currently is sorcerers, but he did mention that he is interested in trying out wizards.
Yeah, and you know what? So far after this discussion, it's looking like I'm not going to be a wizard. this is
That's the
this.
key thing. Now, like the trade-off between like a wizard and like a sorcerer is wizards generally get access to higher level spells a level before sorcerers do, but they it's the amount of spells that are truly different, and the fact that wizards are go okay. I can, as long as I can fit it in my book, that's what I have over a sorcerer. The sorcerers, just like bards, can know, based on the level, can only know X amount of spells for each level of spells there are based on their overall level. So technically, a wizard can eventually end up having his spellbook full of spells, which is a lot more spells than the sorcerer or the bard. Because even though a wizard, as you go up in levels, you automatically get to put free spells in it. But technically, if you find a scroll, you can technically burn the scroll, put it by putting it in your spellbook. If someone else has a spell book because they're also a wizard and they have spells you don't have, you can borrow at well, I say borrow because in the past people have literally tried to steal each other's spell books because they didn't want to agree to the terms of copying each other's spells. But if you can acquire that spell book, you can spend X amount of time pretty much copying it. Their spell book still has their spells in it and it's still usable, but you now have additional spells in your spell book. And the time it takes is not easy, because when you're transcribing spells like this, it takes one day equal, well, 1 day per level of the spell. So a level 1 spell takes 1 day, but a level 9 spell takes 9 days. And that's pretty much 8 hours of uninterrupted. That's all you're doing. You're filling pages in your book. And when I say pages, um, a spell takes up a number of space. A spell takes up a number of pages equal to its level. With zero level spells, depending on what DM you're playing with, either takes up like half a page or same amount of page as a first level spell. So generally speaking, it's 1 to 9 pages just for that one spell. Which it does mean you can eventually have to get more spell books because a spell book has limited space in it. So if you're trying to become like your own library worth of spells, you literally have to have a library worth of spell books, which there's nothing in the rules that say you can't do that. Does you can be extremely particular or not. Does you just have like, oh, this is a spell book that has random spells in it, so you have to dig through its spell book to look for spells you want, or you can be extremely specific to go, this has first level enchantment spells, this has fifth level evocation spells, so you can be extremely particular so you know exactly where what spell should be in what book. But it does lead into the problem of all an individual, while it be the DM or another player, all they really need to do to cripple you is do something to that book. It can be as simple as stealing the book, to as devious as putting certain fire trap spells. No, I did not just use that, totally just use an actual spell name for a spell. And put that spell inside it so when he opens it to start reading, he sets the spell off, engulfing the book in fire because, well, you just pretty much opened up a small fireball in your hand, basically. So there's you can easily humble and or cripple the wizard by just messing with their spell book. And when I say there has been problems in previous games that made me kind of push certain people who want to be arcane users to go, no, you just go wizard, go wizard. But I'd rather be a wizard. I know, but you're gonna, and as I start booting people, you're going to want to be a wizard. I mean, not a wizard, a sorcerer. And that's because I've not only played with, but had players in my games go as far as, because a person wouldn't let them transcribe simple like first and second level spells from their spell book to their spell book, they would literally rip pages out of the other person's spell book the first chance they get, which does kind of defeat the purpose of them trying to transcribe it. But now that person doesn't have that spell anymore because the missing page, and that can literally, depending on how many on the level of the spell, it can technically affect multiple spells because like you open it up, here's the spell stuff for here, you move this page here, well, you just took part of what you need for this spell over here too, so two spells end up being lost for the cost of one. And the only way to fix it would be to literally go get a scroll or someone else with a spell book that has those spells and transcribe those spells anew inside your book. So I've had some pretty. I really don't want to have. I mean, I'm really about ready to ban this class because you people are being rude and going too far simply because someone said no.
I mean, to be fair, after our last campaign, you did ban my prestige class. So
Yeah, that was not because of what I said. That was less you. and more about how a majority of people decided to react to you doing something for their benefit. So it's like,
Banned an entire class because of it.
so it's like, nah, I can't do that again because if they're gonna react to this, to someone literally only doing this power once and only doing it to make sure that no one died. But like, even though like, wizards can be fun, they can be interesting because they are your smart people. They are the characters and individuals that are considered the high IQ people. So it's like they are bookworm smart. They are the epitome of, oh, I may not have been born with magic, but I'm so smart I make magic bend to my will because I outsmarted it. So they have great potential. And one of my favorite magical items to throw at my wizards is Baka Spellbook. That spellbook is like, it's waterproof, it's fireproof, it has no limit to what's how many spells can be put in it, and it like already comes with a butt ton of spells in it already. Does technically speaking, a wizard spellbook comes with all available zero level spells in it for free, which is a huge trade off from sorcerers. Like, I can only memorize 4 level spells. Wizard going, if you ever want to switch out, let me know because I have all of them already. You're lucky because you only have to pick out of 4. I have so many because I have all of them.
You have 4. I have 400. We are not the same.
That's pretty much like it. Uh, because like resting, recent casting limits and incarnate stuff, all that stuff is still the same, pretty much the same, no matter really what class you're playing. It's just how that class approaches it. There's like spell preparation. It's like after resting, you must a wizard must study their spell book to prepare any spells for that day, and it takes a hour. Preparing some smaller portions of your daily capacity takes approximately a smaller amount of time, but always at least 15 minutes for the minimum time requirement to achieve the proper mental state. This is kind of like getting your head straight to make sure those spells are all there. Uh, and one of the things that I normally uh, try to avoid is anything that expands that hour, because the biggest complaint I ever got from anyone throughout my like 20 plus years of playing D&D is, why do we have to spend so much time preparing our spell? It's like, because you have to get your mind straight. You have to pick the spell. While it's extreme nitpicking with a fine tooth pick, or just going, I'm just gonna over prep magic missile. Like all my first level spells is magic missile. It's like it can be extremely quick like that, or just like, oh dear God, I have to pick like 5 spells. What should they be? Yes, I've ran into people who like, you have the like, only 3 first level spells. You have to prep 5 spells. You already know what spells you're going to actually need. Why are we literally spending a real life hour with you stressing what spells? We all know you're gonna pick Burning Hands twice and Magic Missile 3 times. But but what if I needed the other way around? 3 of these and 2 of these. It's like, AoE or personal? To who it may concern, this has your name on it. You're going to be in a confined space where if you choose who it may concern, those might be party members, or as long as they're within like around 100 feet of me. This has their name on it. Shouldn't be that big of a problem. 15 minutes later, I don't know what to do. Because, yes, I've ran into those players. And they're also the same people that will look and go, hey, shouldn't take my character an hour to prep these spells. And me going, well, I mean, technically, because you're only prepping like 7 spells, I can say it's like it takes like a half hour because like it's mainly low level spells you're prepping. And they'll still go, it shouldn't take more than like a minute. It's like, no, no, no. It's going to take that long because you have to read the spell, get your head prepped for that spell. It's prepping everything. So it's going to take no less than 15 minutes. And that's using the book logic on that preparation time. And normally, unless like you're playing with a DM who's somewhat of an ass, pardon my French, uh, an hour is like the absolute longest. And that's kind of the point of when you get to such a high level where you're prepping a lot of spells. And that goes for all the classes. Uh, and there is a side section where wizards can borrow spellbooks. Does a wizard can use a borrowed spellbook to prepare a spell that you already know and has recorded in your own spellbook, but preparing such is not assumed. So it's like there is someone like that. Like if it's one of the ones you already know, you can technically borrow someone's spellbook because like for some reason yours isn't available, but you guys pretty much are like sharing each other's spells. You can kind of, oh, remember someone stole mine, so we get to share your spellbook now. Now, I wouldn't assume it because there has been some anal doing butt monkeys I've played with where they've gone out where someone else has gone out of their way to pretty much cripple one of the wizards, and then that wizard looks at the other wizard and pretty much says, "Oh, I just that's where we've been sharing spells. I just take his spell book." It's like, can you ask first? Uh, yeah, yeah. Adding spells to a wizard's spellbook. It's like right here. A wizard can add new spells to their spell book through several methods. If a wizard chooses to specialize in a school, you can learn only from schools who uh, those spells can be cast. Because specialized wizards are weird. Because it's kind of like, I'm really good with this, but not those. When you gain a new level, you pretty much get to add to it. It's like, despite what some other people say, it's like you get to add that you're pretty much assumed to be doing an amount of spell research between adventures. Each time you attain a new wizard level, you gain 2 spells of your choice to add to your spell book. These spells represent the result of your own research. The 2 free spells must be of spell level you can cast. If they've chosen a specific school of magic, one of those 2 spells must be from that school. So if you're specializing in invocation, that has to be an invocation. But what this means is whenever you go that level, like from like level 1 to level 2, you can, because you already get the first, the 0 level spells for free, you pretty much get 2 additional first level spells in your book. And like every single level you go up, you pretty much you can do that. So once you get access to second level, you can immediately get 2 second level, or 1 second level and 1 first, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of not as restricting as sorcerers and bards. The sorcerers and bards, when they go up a level, they have known spells. It's pretty much it's all up in your head. So in order to expand that, you have to get up in levels, and you can then take time to replace other spells. So if you want to swap out like magic missile for burning hands, when you gain a new level, you can do that. So it's kind of like I'm forgetting magic missile, but now I know how to cast burning hands. And bards are the same way. The key difference between bards and sorcerer, well, bards and sorcerers, between wizards and then your spontaneous casters, which are your sorcerers and bards, is technically like sorcerers, they get to cast more spells a day, but you're stuck between like, oh, I know two first level spells, but I get like 5 spells I can cast a day. They don't have to memorize those spells. They still have to take certain time to make sure they got their ingredients together. They get that whole zen of I can do this. So they can technically get around being the 15-minute mark. Just again, you're just making sure your brain's in the right spot to be able to cast the spells, not necessarily preparing the spells. But it's one of those things of yeah, it's like I got like these 3 first level spells. I can cast 5 first level spells a day, and it can be any combination of up to 5 castings of either one spell or like one magic missile, 2 burning hands, and 2 of whatever your third level spell is. While wizard is sitting there going, I only got 3 spells. But at the same time, it's like I I had to actually pick from like an actual list. While you just got to go, I feel like this at the moment. A little sad face. Because that is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't play wizards, is because you're locked in. So if you choose like 2 burning hands and 3 magic missiles, that's what you got for the day. While the sorcerer, as long as he has access to spells of that, spells per day for that level, they just get to willy nilly do what they want with it. They are not locked in. But it's only like those 3 spells. So it's a balancing trade off between the two. One gets to know more spells, the other one gets to cast more. And that's not counting the corresponding skill, because wizards use intelligence. The higher your intelligence is, the more spells you can prep in a day. Sorcerers and bards use charisma, so the higher the charisma, the more spells they get to spontaneously cast that day. Yeah, it's like right here for daily reading of spells. A sorcerer and bards must focus their minds on the task of casting their spells. They still need the 8 hours of proper rest, just like everyone else. And after which they spend 15 minutes concentrating on what they need to do to reflect, so that way they can actually cast these spells. So like right there by the book, it can be easily like, oh, there's a bunch of wizards and bards. I mean, not wizards and bards, sorcerers and bards. So instead of waiting an hour for them to be ready, it's like 15 minutes, and then they start making sure their campus stuff is picked up. Yeah. Uh, yeah, casting spells with at least 8 hours of within the 8 hours of rest counts against the sorcerer bard's daily limit. Which, just for reference, what that means is if you're resting for the night and you only have like a couple spell slots left to cast spells, if you're interrupted between that rest, besides the fact it's now considered uninterrupted rest, which kind of means you have to start all over again in order to recast your spells. It means you have whatever you have left from the previous day. Bacon can contest that that's not fun when you already don't have that many spells anyways because you're low level and you're trying to rest to get them back, but because of poor encounter rolls from the party, you don't get that rest. Isn't that right, Bacon Poo?
All I'm gonna say is I'm so glad that I only needed 2 hours to be considered rested
Yeah, it's because you got the
for the
ring of
longest time.
yeah, because the ring of sustenance. I love that ring. If you can get it, do it. Because it means if you're a spellcaster, you don't need 8 hours anymore. You only need like 2 hours of rest to be counted as well rested for your spells. So as long as you're resting first and like going on like last watch or no watch, you don't have to actually um, have it interfere when you go to prep in your spells the next day because they, oh, I got my 2 hours I needed. So yeah, I don't know why you guys are complaining that we need another 8 hours because I already got the two I needed. So yeah, when you got that, that made things so much easier, didn't it?
Oh, it did. It definitely. It was definitely a huge improvement over the 8 hours of necessary sleep, given the fact of how many times we had party members get killed in the middle of the night between assassin bugs and giant evil lizards that liked eating people.
The Ceratosauruses, yes. The amount of times of, hey, we're waking up. Wasn't I supposed to be woke up on watch? Who's supposed to wake me up on watch? Oh, her feet are left because it jumped down and only left the just above her ankles. Or going,
Yeah.
hey, where's the person that we kind of like hope got eaten? Oh, his desiccated corpse is over there because he got drained of all his fluids by giant assassin bugs. Yes, yes. We were joking about him dying. I mean, we weren't, but still.
We 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 wanted him to die, but we really hoped it wouldn't be when it was his turn to be on watch.
Um, yeah, it's funny moments like that when it's like, think, now that I have this, thank God we don't have to stress it. But then again, you also got the instant fortress, which made night encounters practically non-existent. Here's a portal.
Yes, they
Going to the
did.
Antimantium Tower. Go ahead, monsters, mess with us now. Party rules
And
so
then
much.
we met the and then we found the lunar dragons.
It's like, oh, how hot is
The-
that pet? It it ignores hardness when it braves its fire, which means the hardness of this antimantium doesn't matter because it's ignoring it. So now I have a damaged tower because the stairs in the first floor are kind of look like they were recently liquefied because someone upset a
Listen,
wingling.
I didn't upset it. I made it my pet.
You didn't upset it. You didn't.
I I know. It's because I fed it.
You have to remember several party members were like, "Dear God, we gotta fight it," and it's like, okay,
Play.
don't worry, we can take it on. Those who have a brain. It's an 18-foot long baby dragon that has no problem being by itself because they don't use nests. And I have a melted antimantium tower.
And its only natural predator is a Tarrasque.
Actually,
And
for
even
lunar
then,
dragons, it's not a Tarask.
oh, it's not.
It's bigger
I thought
lunar
the
dragons.
I was gonna say I thought the babies had to worry about Tarrasques.
Uh, No, in their well, you have to remember in their natural habitat, Tarrasques don't exist in, and when you put the lunar dragon out of its natural habitat, uh, they have a tendency to dominate that. And if a Tarrasque is present, well, a more mature adult lunar dragon goes and goes, "You have regeneration and technically a certain degree of plot armor. Um, I don't care because I'm gonna go
Fuck you. That's
annihilate
why.
you." Does that? Yeah, you think you're big bad and are gonna make those dragons run? Those dragons run from me, and by dragons I mean I'm gonna go attack like this city ran by this dragon that's using its other dragons to rule it, and I'm just gonna curveball all of them. Does Lunar Dragons are the epitome of indeterminate growth. So not
I
forget a
still have
dragon that doesn't
PTSD.
quite look like a dragon goes, I'm multi tons heavier than you, and I'm going to make sure this gravity feels my weight as I, pimp slap you."
Every time I look at the moon, I still have PTSD.
From Wormling's playing slap tag.
Because they wanted to play slap tag, and there was only one party member who could survive that.
Yeah, which is another reason why those dragons are weird, because again they don't nest. Once they hatch, the hatchlings kind of just roam around as a pack of apex predators until they get big enough to not really want to hang out together, and then they kind of just separate because they don't need their parents to help them. Because again, they start out as like 11 hit die creatures from day one. Which for anyone playing at home, 11 hit dice is pretty much they start out as 11th level characters basically. So they start out pretty up there, and because they don't care about a lot of things, does their breath weapon bypasses immunities and resistances because it's considered nondescript script. Depending on the species of lunar dragon, they're either automatically partial immune to all elements or just flat out immune to elements. And they're all about, go ahead, hit me with your sword. I'm going to then grab your sword and break it on you. Because they're in the mid 20s, starting off in strength. Uh, but yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, yeah. Funny for some, PTSD for others.
Yeah. Yes, there's a bunch of juveniles going, huh? Slap tag. For those who don't know what slap tag is, it's pretty much normal tag, but instead of touching them, you have to actually run up and slap them. It doesn't have to be in the face, but you literally have to go for that slap. And lunar dragons, in their youthful stages, that's their favorite game because they are full contact dragons when it comes to their activities. So they love roughhousing, and slap tag is pretty much a big thing of, hey, look, I can still move really fast, get to you, and then still hurt you because here's this slap. So if they existed today, the slap competitions, they would actually love that because they'll show up and go, huh, who's gonna slap whose face off? Yay! And then no one would want to play anymore if the slap dragons would be like, go ahead, slap me again. I like it. Who's the big dog here? Uh, we should probably stop talking about the weirdness of those dragons.
But they're so much fun.
Oh, they can be extremely fun. Uh, like when they're in their young stage, their primary means of communication, that sounds like songbirds because they uh for communication, they don't really like to roar and stuff. They sound like literal songbirds until you realize that wait, that doesn't sound like any of the songbirds we want to be around. Why? Uh, because it's the wrong time of night for songbirds. What do you mean? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and the songbirds here usually don't start singing for another like 4 to 5 hours, and it's a full moon.
Yeah.
This lunar dragons are nocturnal, and they especially love moonlit nights because they get to see their ancestral home. Because yes, lunar dragons, also known as moon dragons, are from the moon. They are a literal non-terrestrial dragon. Put that in the science in your science books. There's a literal alien dragon, and it other than the fact that it has wings, 4 legs, and a long tail, you wouldn't actually consider it a dragon. You would consider it something trying to be a dragon, despite the fact they are actually considered a true dragon. Uh,
All right, now that we've gotten off topic enough with dragon talk instead
let's
of
move on to
magic.
some of the other spellcasters and how they work. Divine spellcasters.
Nah, fucking clerics.
Well, it's not just clerics. Divine casters, which clerics are
Drew,
the proper.
druids.
There's druids, rangers, and paladins. Even though rangers and paladins, you do have to wait until you're at least 4th level to start casting spells. They, when it comes to magic, have the biggest cheat because, like sorcerers, they memorize their spells. But unlike sorcerers, when you gain access to that level of spells, you automatically know all the spells of that level that are available. So, for instance, when any of them get the ability to cast second level spells, unlike a wizard who gets like I get 2 second level spells, or a bard or sorcerer that has to go okay I get to like memorize like 1 second level spell. What's it gonna be? The divine casters go, oh that must be hard for you guys. What do you mean? Oh, I know all spells in their second level. What? It's like, yeah. Here's the list of spells that each morning I get to prep. So I'm just gonna prep like like these two right here, and each day you can swap out between any from this list. And when I get 3rd level, I get to do it with that, and then 4th, and then 5th, and then 6th. Even though paladins and rangers only go up to 4th level spells, kind of like how bards only go up to 6th level spells. They still get to go. I just know all the spells of that level, so it's complete cheat. And clerics and druids have an additional something that feels like a cheat because clerics can spontaneously cast their cure spells, but they don't spontaneously cast it as a bard or a sorcerer. What it means is they don't have to prep their curing spells. They can literally spend all their curing spells on like damage and buff or debuff spells, and when they need to heal, they can go, "Oh, I'm gonna burn this 3rd level spell to heal you." Heal you. What do you mean? Oh, I get to burn this to cast the 3rd level equivalent cure spell of that level. So instead of doing this possibly buff or damage spell, I'm just going to cast this cure serious and get you 3 die 8 plus my level in healing because they can literally just do that. While anyone else that has access to healing spells has to specifically prep it. They get to just go, I just burned this and bam, healed. Druids get a similar effect, but it's not curing spells. It's summon nature's ally, where they get to burn whatever prepared spell they have of that level to do a summons nature ally of that level. So they can burn a third level spell to get off the third level version of summon nature's ally, so they can go, I hope this creature's in this area because next turn it's going to show up to help me beat some putty beat some people up. So it's like that's how they kind of cheat. And when it comes to like the prep time, it's pretty much just copy and paste. Does a lot of the stuff is like, with the exception of spontaneity casting of cure spells or inflict if you're evil, because technically evil clerics do inflict instead of cure. So with the exception of like they're spontaneous and the fact they know all spells to that level, prepping same thing. Picking the spells, all that is the same thing. So you need 8 hours of rest. You need like that up to an hour worth of prep time to prep everything. So yeah, it's literally the same in a lot of aspects, and can still be pretty nifty and good. The only things that any my brain's not working through. The only real restrictions that they have is like for your holy casters, that more of your true holy casters, like your paladins and your clerics. If you cast any spell that is technically opposed to your god, and this is mainly towards the alignment. For instance, if you're worshipping Weejess, who's lawful neutral, wonderful goddess, by the way, I love her. But you're sitting there like, yay, and you prep a spell that has the stripper for chaos. You can't prep that spell because it's opposed to her. She is lawful. You cannot prep chaotic spells. And it's the same flip side if you're following a chaotic god. You cannot prep lawful spells because those spells go against the god's alignments. Uh, Rangers and druids are pretty much in the same boat because even though that a portion of their divinity stuff comes from nature themselves, you also have to remember there's gods of nature. And those gods, if you're going, I'm just going to go against the god I venerate because I want these spells here, that god has the full right to go, you just lost access to all of your divine stuff because, well, you just pissed off the divine entity that governs nature. And yes, for those who want to get that argument, that can happen. Even if you don't actually venerate a god, if you're going that route, any particular spell you prep with the excuse or reasoning, it's on my spell list, so I'm going to do it. You have to remember that when you're following more abstract things, such as I just follow nature in its entirety, um, it's less understanding and less forgiving than an actual entity you can reason with. Just like Krillin LeFay, you can reason with him. You can end up doing some sort of god call to commune with him and stuff like that. But nature, you can't really actually talk to nature because it doesn't have a true voice. And if you're thinking the spell communes with nature, that just lets you know things in a certain area, natural environment conditions such as like how many animals are they naturally there or not. Where are some vegetation? Is there a water source? Is there natural caves? Is there unnatural structures, which are technically any structure is considered unnatural because people built it? It does stuff like that. It doesn't let you communicate with nature. So prepping and casting something that obliterates nature, like Withering Blight, if not watched out for, you can decimate an area because it goes after plants. That's not a very forgiving spell, and the amount of times I've had to run across players as a DM as a player who have gone, it's on my spell list, so I shouldn't have any repercussions for it. And it's not just for druids; it's for clerics, paladins, and rangers, because they go, it's on my spell list, therefore I get to cast it. When it's like, no, you cast this here. This is your character's belief system, belief structure. This is the thing that supports all that. That by doing this, you're going against that. But if you're an evil cleric, an evil druid who is worshipping more of the destruction, decay, and just vile parts of nature, because there is technically to a certain degree vile parts of nature, or a vile entity, you can get away with all those evil spells because, like, hey, here's bad guy spells. So when you're prepping your spells, you have to keep that little thing is, does this spell go against the alignment of the entity I follow, regardless of what entity it is? And or does this spell somehow conflict with the belief structure, the dogma of what my character believes in? And then how much is the DM going to let you get away with? Does, like we've said in previous episodes, if a DM's letting you get away with something, and Bacon can agree with me on this, then you are technically getting away with it.
Absolutely. So remember, kids, always feed your DMs.
Feed DM. Yeah, does that take a big big hiccup? Is your biggest obstacle is even though you shouldn't be trying to treat your DM as an obstacle, your biggest obstacle is the DM, because if the DM's letting you get away with stuff, well, then that's on the DM, not you. If a DM's enforcing, like, hey, you have to remember this stuff here, he may be technically giving you an obstacle, but that obstacle is not something you should treat as a thing you need to destroy or get rid of, but something that you either need to somehow get him to agree to warp, bend, or put a few holes in it so you can get away with what you want to do, or find a way to think outside the box and utilize your spells in a way that does not actually stop you from using them. Like Easy Bake Oven. So, thinking outside the box is key, and if there's prohibited spells, don't fret. Push comes to shove, it's no actual problem, because if you're wanting to go after prohibited spells, it's more you, unless the DM being a dick or the DM not working with you. It's more of an actual, like, hey, this stuff here is prohibited, stay away from it. And yeah, it's like I said before, and I'll probably say it a bunch more times, that's one of the reasons why I like Bacon as a spellcaster, because when I go, hey, this is a restriction on your spellcasting, I'm not getting into an argument on whether or not I should remove it or something with him, because he's like, okay, but can I do this? It's like, you chinky butt monkey. That it's about working around hurdles not trying to obliterate or getting mad because there is a hurdle. Because you can't grow if you're continuously running headfirst into a wall. Don't do that, it's bad for your health. But moving on to a section called special abilities. And there's several things that helps refine these. And a lot of these you'll find that certain monsters have, or certain races may or may not have particular things that count as these. And these fall under spell-like abilities, supernatural abilities, extraordinary abilities, and natural abilities. These four things help govern where a lot of these creatures' abilities fall under and how they technically work. For instance, spell-like abilities. They are pretty much a creature has the natural ability to cast that spell. They can technically, to a certain degree, circumvent, get around things, and not necessarily have to abide by certain rules. Because, for instance, they auto reset at the end of at the start of each day. Most of the time, they take a standard action to cast, and they don't need like spell components. And it's extremely rare for a spell-like ability to pop up that needs XP. It's extremely rare, and those creatures that have some that normally takes it, like genies or djinns, that have the ability to grant wish. Wish takes XP. But if you run into a royal djinn, they get to do their one casting of the spell, or for certain cases, sometimes three castings, and it doesn't hurt them because they don't need any sort of execute material, can spell components or loss of XP, because it's a spell like ability, a literal ability that's duplicating the spell. So it works just like the spell without none of the downsides. And there is a lot of creatures that have it, like the Dryad's Charm effect, or the greater teleport ability of many devils. Those are spell-like abilities. Supernatural abilities like the dragon's fiery breath, the Medusa's paralyzing gaze. Those particular things are supernatural. They break the normal bounds of things, and they are technically, to a certain degree, depending on what source it's coming from, is technically a magical effect, but it's not a spell or spell-like ability because it's a supernatural thing. Uh, just like how the ability to turn dead of a cleric is a supernatural ability. They get to supernaturally go, "Begone, corpse." Supernatural abilities are not subject to spell resistance, counter spells, or being dispelled by dispel magic, and do not function in areas where magic is suppressed or negated, such as anti-magic field. And what that pretty much means is if you know a creature has a supernatural ability over a spell-like ability, you're kind of just going, crap, I can't stop it from doing that. But the trade-off is, just like it says there, it does not function in areas where magic is suppressed or negated. So anti-magic fields, you're safe in because of those wordings. But the downside for you, if a creature's using a supernatural ability, is normally spell resistance can affect a lot of random stuff, like spell-like abilities or natural spell castings. Supernatural effects don't care, because it's not subject to it. There also do not provoke attacks of opportunity for this effect to kick off. So it has a lot of pros and not very many cons. With the only con still being, oh, we're anti-magic field, crud muffin. Even though there's plenty of DMs out there that don't adhere to that last part of the paragraph, they just have it still work in areas where magic is being suppressed or negated. And again, that's DM prerogative. The next one is extraordinary abilities, such as like a rogue's evasion ability, a troll's ability to regenerate, are extraordinary abilities. These abilities cannot be disrupted in combat, as spells can, and generally do not provoke attacks of opportunity. It goes into actually what extraordinary ability it is. Effects or area, effects or areas or stuff like that normally just doesn't affect it. Because like rogues can be extremely cheeky like that. Like sneak attack, if memory serves, is extraordinary ability. Uh, I know one thing a lot of people hate about trolls is their regeneration. Now, Bacon hasn't really had any actual problem fighting trolls because he hasn't had that many trolls to actually fight because he's only been in ever one fight with trolls.
I get lucky.
Yeah. Well, you say you get lucky, but like that one fight, he didn't have any problems with the trolls because they knocked him unconscious relatively quickly. So it's like I had
I
no
said I
problem
didn't
with
have
him.
any problems. I didn't say I was fighting them. I
Yeah, it's
just
like
said I got lucky.
yeah, it's like did I die? No. Did I have any problems with them? Some people would say, they knocked you out. I went, yeah. Round two, I got knocked unconscious, meaning they weren't my problem anymore. Your guys' problem. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait to see who wins.
It's nap time. I'm tired.
Wake me up when this ends. Which that fight then did take a little longer than what it's supposed to. But we gotta love trolls. The next thing is natural abilities. Natural abilities, including creatures that have physical features such as a bird's ability to fly, is a natural ability. You can't actually affect them the same way you could affect the rest because it's a natural ability. There's some creatures you look at and go, how is it able to fly? Oh, it's a supernatural or a extra ability that's giving them the flight. While a bird, an owl, a griffin, a dragon, they don't use magic to fly or some weird thing that duplicates it. No, they just fly because they have wings. You have to use stuff that affects wings to stop them from flying because they can fly through areas of anti-magic. You can't counter spell a spell or dispel their ability to fly because they're just flapping their wings to fly. Uh, the beholder's ability to levitate and move around, that's a supernatural ability, which means
Yeah, fuck that thing.
well, no, it's either supernatural or extraordinary. It's one of those two things. So you have to like figure out some other random way to stop it from flying because it's literally using weird pseudo magical BS to fly because they're like I'm literally a flying eyeball with a mouth because I'm an aberration. Eh. I mean, well, it would flip people off if it could.
Very simply, I do what I want.
That pretty much. Uh, in abilities that you get via a class or a race, those abilities fall under one of these four categories: a spell like ability, supernatural ability, extraordinary ability, or a natural ability. Uh, like for instance, one of my favorite races are it's Rivera. They're pretty much a medium-sized humanoid dragon people. They have the extraordinary ability of tail slap, which lets them have a as attack of opportunity. They get to smack people with their tail, but yet they have the natural ability of flight because they have wings. That's a good definition of two separate things there. Uh, or the fact that like gnomes get a bonus against spells and spell like effects. That's an extraordinary ability they have. So all of these different races that give these little things here have some abbreviation for supernatural, extraordinary, or spell like ability for that effect. So you don't actually have to guess unless the source decide not to actually put that there, but 9 out of 10 times it's going to be there unless your DM's lazy, transcribes it to a piece of paper, and just decides not to put that down. Because I've been yelled at for that. Uh, oh, wow. We've been here for an hour. It didn't quite get as far as I thought we would, but uh, still. So to summarize,
Well, sometimes it's about the laughs that we have more
yeah,
so than
yeah,
it is the how
actually
getting as
enjoying
far
it.
as you want to.
Yeah. Well, it's not like as far as I want to is whatever we get. As far as I thought, it was like thought we were gonna get here, but little side tangents and us just having fun is boom. So to summarize things, um, wizards don't lose your spell book. Sorcerers and bards, don't get yourself into a migraine because of your spells. Divine
The
casters,
paladin's fucking cheating.
you divine casters, stop cheating. And remember, when it comes to learning new spells, prepping new spells, um, just like we said before, work with your DM. Because again, the more self-policing you do when it comes to what new spells you're getting or what spells you're selecting, it helps everyone, not just you. Uh, but on that note, I would like to thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and join us next week as we actually officially start talking about the spell lists, starting with bards and what spells they get at what levels. So thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.